So today I just wanted to take a quick look at 1989's Out of the Dark. This is the last film appearance by Devine. It is very much a brief appearance in the film. It's not an actual all-out performance, but we are looking at her career, or rather his career, because this is more of an appearance by Harris Milstead. There is no drag appearance. He is appearing or presenting as male in this film. So the film was released posthumously after his death. This is also the second time that he appeared in a film alongside Tab Hunter, as previously stated. They worked together first on Polyester, then Lust in the Dust, and Out of the Dark. So this film obviously is on the tail end of the 80s. It definitely has very much a 90s look and feel to it. You don't have too much of the over-exaggerated clothing. There's probably just one scene with one woman with crazy poofy hair, but other than that, it's very 90s looking, this film. So it's definitely a very effective film. I went into this obviously blind watching it. So I really didn't know what to expect too much, but I found it very entertaining. It's a thriller. It's very effective. You do have those tense moments. For some odd reason, you do have like those stupid catchphrases that the killer utters every single time he murders someone, which I could do without. You know, he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not going to work. But the film still manages to remain very engaging. It also has very good humorous moments. So when you're not waiting for the next person to die, which honestly the first kill comes in fairly early. We have a guy wearing a clown mask. He is kind of doing a meme act, or a mime act rather, sorry. He is also holding a baseball bat. So the first female victim pretends to toss a ball for him. He misses the first two. On the third, he very obviously, because he's working his way closer to her throughout the scene, so you get a swift crack in the head, but it's such a quiet scene, and it comes in so quick, and it sounds so loud in comparison to the silence, that it does still manage to be extremely effective. It's not a jump scare. It's not necessarily a startling moment, but obviously once you hear the crack, you know exactly what happened. But yeah, definitely very effective for a first kill in the scene. The clown mask itself, it's not really creepy or anything. I mean, it works. It's not goofy looking. It's not scary. It's just kind of, I guess you could say, for me at least, a neutral medium. But Harris Milstead in this film appears as Detective Langella. So to me, what I found very amusing is the first mention that you have of Harris Milstead, or his character, which is Detective Langella, comes in fairly early. They mention his character at 13 minutes into the film. The second mention comes in at 35 minutes, and we don't actually see him until an hour and 7 minutes into the film. He is only on screen for roughly about 2 to 3 minutes. But if you know the voice, if you know the profile shape, you definitely know it is him. And I think he does extremely well for those moments. He's definitely he carries the character very well, just a gruff, moody detective. He's seen it all. He knows the routine. He's at the top of his game. You know, he doesn't like being told what's what, because he has pretty much been through it all. But that's pretty much the very brief presentation that we see from Harris Milstead. But the plot itself is actually, like I said, very engaging. And for me, and it could just be the fact that I also work at a call center myself. I've done this work for years, but I don't see very many horror films or thrillers that are set in call centers. The only other one that I know of is one called Devil May Call, which I'll eventually get around to reviewing that for you guys as well. But this it's centered around a call center, women who I guess you could say, provide the service of phone sex. So you have a guy, or perpetrator obviously, who calls in, very brief calls, fairly violent, kind of bossy. They all pretty much know him. They really think nothing of it until, like I said, members of their office start dying off. So it's a very small, very close-knit, independently run office. The woman managing the place is played by Karen Black. So Karen Black definitely knows her stuff. Excellent performance from her as well. Maybe just a little bit over the top here and there, but yeah, I mean, she definitely does a good job. So at some point in the time in the film, and potentially this is the part that just kind of had me misled, is the cops decide to set up a sting operation. Basically, they are going to have one volunteer, a young lady in the privacy of her own home, taking calls at home rather than at the office, and the whole ploy is to lure him to the office with the promise of sexual favors. Obviously, she will not be there, and the cops will be in the office waiting to apprehend him. So obviously, our killer is very much in the know. He knows what is up. So the phone call comes in. We do see somebody calling from a phone booth wearing the familiar mask, but the killer actually appears in her apartment, which led me to believe that there were actually two people in on this. I could be wrong. Obviously, in the turn of events, the resolution, we do find that there is only one person. It was left open-ended, so we really don't get the identity of the second person, if there actually was one. I really didn't care for the weak psychological explanation that they gave on why he kills. Apparently, Mr. Killer Guy used to work at a circus as a clown, and the circus gradually broke up because members kept dying. I wonder why. Darn, don't you hate it when that happens? But, you know, we skip to years later. He happens to be dating one of the women who works at the call center. Oh no, I spoiled the film, sorry. Anywho, I didn't care for that resolution. To me, it was just weak and lazy. Obviously, and I guess they were just working for sex appeal, but obviously we have women working as, I guess you could say, phone sex workers. So we early on do have quite a bit of gratuitous nudity. It does carry on through a fair bit of the film. Very beautiful women. So even if you're just maybe not a fan of the slasher, maybe you're a fan of the boobies, who knows? You know, because horror film and slashers, you know, blood and boobs, they always go well together. Everybody knows that recipe. But yeah, I mean, I definitely thought it was an excellent film. I had never seen or heard of this before, so I'm definitely pleased that I discovered a new film throughout this review series. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.